Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make your computer chime like a grandfather clock every hour on the hour. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to need to get something to play our sound files with. So for that task, we're going to use Pygame, and that is in pretty much every repository. So on Ubuntu, sudo apt-get install Pygame, but I already have that installed, so I'm not going to bother doing it again. Now let's just have a look at these files that I have on my desktop. So I have two files, one called tolling.wav and one called ourchimesingle.wav. So let's play those and see what they are. So that's tolling, and the hour chime single is just a single chime. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to cd over to my desktop, and I'm going to create a few directories. So let's call this one actually -p, grandfather clock, so father -clock, and within that I want a directory called sfx. Okay, so our directories are created. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move our hour chime single and tolling into that directory, so the sfx directory, and that's done now. So if we just cd into grandfather clock, you can see we have our sfx directory, and if I ls that, you can see that we have our two sounds in there. So that's all done. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we need to create our script that will do all of the playing of the sounds. But before I do that, let's just go over exactly what I'm going to do. So what's going to happen is every hour on the hour, I want that tolling.wav file to play, and that's the one that does the long chiming. And then let's just say it's 4 AM. I want the hour chime single sound file to play 4 times. And if it's 10 AM, I want it to play 10 times. But then if it's say 3 in the afternoon, rather than having it play 15 times, I just want it to play 3 times. So let's just start creating this script. So I'm just going to use Vim as my text editor, and let's call the script grandfather-clock.py and hit enter. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the standard shebang line. So shebang /usr/bin/env Python, because this script is going to run with Python. That's it. So now let's handle the imports. So we know that we're going to need Pygame, or the Pygame module, so we can import that. So import Pygame. We're also going to need time, because we're going to be doing some stuff with time. So let's just import the time module. And we're going to need the OS module, because we're going to be doing some stuff with some paths to files. So import OS. Okay, there we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to initialize the Pygame mixer. Now you have to do this with Pygame, otherwise you won't be able to play sounds effectively. So pygame.mixer.init and 2 parentheses, because we're calling that init function, or the mixer init function. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a variable, and let's call this dir_path. And what this is going to be is it's going to be the absolute path to the directory of wherever this script is going to run. So we could take this entire directory and move it anywhere within our OS, and this should still work. So dir_path is equal to OS. So we're assigning it to this. So os.path.dirname, and just open up the parentheses for that. And inside of that, we're going to pass in os.path.abspath and open up another couple of parentheses. And within that, we're going to pass the magic variable, which is dunderfile. Now, what dunderfile does is it will give us the name of this script, and we're passing that into os.path.abspath. So we're getting the absolute path to wherever this particular file is, and then we're passing that into os.path.dirname to get the directory name, which is going to be grandfather-clock. So we can just print this out actually and show you exactly what it does. So dir_path. Okay, let's just run this and see what happens. So Python grandfather-clock.py, and as you can see, it's generated the path to this directory that we're in, which is exactly what we want. So let's go back into this, and actually let's just delete this line because we don't need that anymore. And now let's load our sound files. So let's create another variable. We'll call this on_the_hour. So on_the_hour. And this is going to be our sound object. So we're going to assign that to pygame.mixer.sound with a capital S. And what we need to do is we need to pass in a path to a sound file within these parentheses, which is what all of this dir path stuff was for previously. So what we're going to do is we're going to do os.path.join, because we're going to join two paths together to form one, which will be the absolute path to our sound file. And we're going to pass in two things into os.path.join. First of which is our dir_path variable that we created earlier, and put in a comma. So the second thing that we're going to pass in is we're going to pass in the rest of the path to our sound file. So we already have our containing directory, which is grandfather-clock. And now what we're going to pass in is sfx, which is the sfx directory, which is right next to this script, and slash, because we're going into it. And the file name was tolling, not 3 L's, 2 L's. There we go, tolling.wav. So now we have a sound object, or a Pygame sound object, which is our tolling sound. We're going to do the exact same thing, but for our single ding sound. So we're going to call that single_ding. And exactly the same as before. So pygame.mixer.sound with a capital S, os.path.join. Yep. And dir_path, comma, sfx, and what was it called? It was called our-chime-single-single.wav. Okay, so that's our sound files loaded. So let's continue with this. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to find out the time, and then we need to find out what hour it is. So we're going to create a variable called now, and that is going to equal an int. So we're casting something to an int here, or we're making an int from a string is exactly what's going on here. So we're going to use the time module. So time.strftime, or as I always remember this, string from time. And we're going to pass something into this. So we're going to pass in %i. Now the %i directive will return a string that is the hour of the current time. So what's happening here is we're using the time module and we're calling a function called string from time, or strftime. And we're passing in a directive, which is basically saying, hey, just give us the hour. And then because that's a string, we're casting that to an int because we actually need to do some int related stuff later. So that's all that's doing. But now is the hour that we are at now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play our first sound. So on_the_hour. So it's _the_hour dot play. So we're calling the .play function on our sound object. And now I'm going to use the time module again, but I'm just going to call time.sleep. And we're going to sleep for 6 seconds. Now the reason why I have that delay in this script is because if we just call play on that sound object, what will happen is play will be called on it, but there's nothing left in the script to do, so the script will just end, so nothing will play. So hopefully this should play. So let's just Python grandfather clock. And there we go. So let's just open that back up again. So we're playing our first chiming sound. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a while loop. And what that's going to do is it's going to continuously call our single_ding until a condition is met. So let's just start by creating another variable, so I, and that's going to equal 0. Now let's get into our while loop. So while I is less than now. So if you remember, now is the hour that we're in. So it's 5 a.m. now. So it's going to be 5. What we're going to do is we're going to call our single underscore ding, and we're going to call the play method on that sound object. And as that's quite a short ding, let's just put a delay in this. So time.sleep, and we'll sleep for 2.5 seconds. And what we need to do now is increment our I variable. So I plus equals 1. And just to close this out cleanly, we're just going to call pygame.quit. So pygame quits once our script finishes running. So if this all works, what's going to happen is it's going to play first our tolling sound, and then it's going to play our single ding 5 times. And in fact, what I'm going to do is just put in a couple of print statements. So print, let's just call this print, I don't know, let's just print ding. And up here, yeah, let's put it after this. So we're just going to print, we're going to print hour. There we go. So we should be able to see that when we run this, as well as hear it. So let's just quit that and save it. And let's just try this out. And there we go, that's the desired effect that we wanted. But there's one more thing that we can do to this, and obviously we're not going to run this ourselves manually every hour, so we can just use cron to do that for us. So let's start editing our crontab file. So what we're going to need is we're going to need the name of this and, well, the path to this. So I'm just going to copy this path. So we'll just copy this. And let's open up our cron tab. So crontab -e, because we're going to edit it. Jump to the end of the file. And I'm going to run this every minute so that we can see it working. But if you wanted to run this every hour on the hour, what you would need to enter into for your crontab entry would be 0. So the 0 minute of every hour, of every day, of every month, of every day of the week. And that would run every hour on the hour. And what you would then do is you would then put in the path to your script, grandfather-clock.py. And there's one thing that I actually forgot to do, so I'm not going to do this right now. So let's just exit this. Obviously, we need to make our script executable, and let's just clean it up a little bit quickly. So vim grandfather clock. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to create a main function. So define main, and I'm just going to indent all of this. So just copy that, and I'm just going to indent this. There we go. So that's all done. And right at the end, what I'm going to do is put in an if statement. So if another one of these magic methods, so _name or dunder name is equal to dunder main, then what we're going to do is we're just going to call our main function. So main, and that's it. So that should all work, and we can test that. So let's just do a quick test. So let's make it executable first. So chmod +x grandfather clock, hit enter. And now we should just be able to call it. So /grandfather clock. Everything's playing perfectly. Okay, I'm not going to let that run, but anyway. So now let's add that to our crontab file. So crontab-e to edit, jump to the end. So what I'm going to do is every minute of every hour of every day of the month, of every month of every day of the week, paste that in, and it's called grandfather clock dot dash clock, actually, isn't it? Dash clock dot pi, and that should run. So let's just save that now. So this is going to run every minute. And actually, like I said, if you want this to run every hour on the hour, just change the minute to a 0. So I'm just going to save and quit this. And let's watch the time. So watch -n every second, date. Okay, so I've got 20 seconds to wait, but I'll just fast forward this for you guys. And as you can see, it works. So that's brought us to the end of this tutorial. I hope you found it useful, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.